Hi, welcome to Prayers Radio Conversations. I'm your host, Rich Jarvis. This is my co-host, John Waterhouse. This show is only about prayer. Ernest Holmes, which we call spiritual mind treatment in this philosophy. You got it, John.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for being with us today. We are going to have an excellent conversation because we have a true icon in our Science of Mind movement. We are blessed to have Dr. Petra Weldes with us today. She, as many of you probably know, was senior minister at the church, in our center in Dallas, and led that community for many years. She's been an ordained minister for 42 years and has done extraordinary work as not only the leader of her community, but as a true leader in our entire movement. So we're blessed to have you with us today, Petra. Thank you so much for being with us. And I would like you to open us and begin with a spiritual mind treatment, if you would,
Uh,
please.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you, Rich and John, for inviting me. This is one of my favorite topics. So let's just take a moment. Take a moment, take a breath. That breath, which is such a beautiful metaphor for the infinite giving and receiving of life itself. An infinite life. That one life that is in, through, around, and behind, and beneath, and all of all life, and so much more. Present as close as the breath. Each one of us a part of that one life. And in this moment, I simply affirm and declare that with Rich and John and myself here in this time together, that it moves effortlessly and slowly and quickly and all the ways in between, guided by divine wisdom, informed by infinite intelligence, moving through the individualized expressions that each one of us is, filled with joy and laughter, filled with depth and growth, and inviting each person who's listening to open their hearts and their minds to everything that is here, to any possibility or opening that is present, knowing that it is the infinite love whispering truth to each one of us. So I call this time good, I call it blessed. I release it into that infinite law, knowing it is already done. And so it is.
So it is.
So it is. Wow. I love a good prayer. Hey, you have a website which is petrawells.com, and I'm going to spell it for our people that are listening in audio. PETRAWELDES.com, correct?
Yes, and it's pronounced Petra. Petra
See?
Weldes.
Good.
Petra Weldes. It's all good.
Yeah, I know.
It's all right.
One of the things we did in the green room is we talked about language, and one of the interesting things is we said, okay, how do you say this in English, and how do you say it in Deutsch? It was fun. So, anyways, let me also point out that she has a couple of books. Also, would you like to tell us about those?
Sure. Reverend Dr. Christian Sorensen and I, we had the pleasure of writing 3 journals together. They are daily opportunities for a little bit of inspiration, and then there is a place on each page in which to journal about what the inspiration is. The first one is the Joyous Freedom Journal. The second one is the Joyous Living Journal, and the third one is the Joyous Abundance Journal. And there are things, if you decide not to write into it, you can use them year after year, but it is a daily from January 1st to December 31st opportunity for deepening.
Awesome. And then you had In the Heart of God with Michael Gott and yourself.
Yes, we did a meditation CD together, which is really wonderful. And there are meditations. The first one starts out at 5 minutes. The last one is, I think, 35 minutes. Each one has a slightly different focus. Some of them are just for centering. Others are for inviting inspiration, meeting a guide, having a deep experience, so that you can kind of pick and choose what you would like to be guided in any particular moment. And then it has
Awesome.
a song on it that we wrote together, a chant.
What we'll do is we'll have that in the show notes for everybody watching and listening so that you can check that out. So the first question we have about prayer, and getting back to our main topic,
Yes.
is how does prayer show up in your life?
I use prayer all the time. I use spiritual mind treatment all the time. So I do treatment when I feel challenged by something in particular. Um, well, first of all, I have three prayer partners, and I meet with them every week. So that provides us an opportunity for us to do treatment for each other. And I will tell you that while I use it regularly throughout the day, when I feel like I want to really impress something, I often do treatments for gratitude because things I want to say, take them snapshot. This is my mental equivalent. More of this, please. But the truth is, the time that I reach for it the most is at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
Those times when I'm awake and I'm afraid about the climate change or the political situation, or I'm afraid about what's happening with my son or my own life, or I get wigged out about something. And of course, at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's the best time to spin out. And so that's when I feel like I double down into my spiritual mind treatment. No, we're not going to any of those places. I am gonna, and I do that treatment until I can sense that I've shifted consciousness enough that I can go back to sleep.
That's great. My Native American teacher said that 3 a.m. is the shaman's hour.
Yeah.
So good for you, Peter. That's wonderful. So I would like to talk about how you teach treatment. I believe I've been in your classes. I've seen how you teach. I've experienced that firsthand, and I would call you a quintessential teacher of science of mind. And because of that, I'm very curious about some of the ways that you teach treatment, maybe some of the nuanced things that you would bring up in class that would really spark people's attention and curiosity. Anything come to mind?
Oh yeah, about 7 things all at once. Oh man, that's a big giant question.
Go for it.
So number one, I think that we misunderstand the idea that there are steps, like it's a formula. And it's all about building consciousness. And so each step I actually teach as a stage of consciousness that they're designed over the years of Ernest Holmes's work and the time that he worked with the education department in what became the United Church of Religious Science, and they tried to figure out what actually was he doing and what actually does work, right? This idea that if you take an affirmation, it sort of sits there in the middle of nothing, and you can affirm I'm abundant, but it's hard to necessarily maybe believe that. And what we know is we say change your thinking, change your life, but it's really, the truth is change your thinking, which changes your belief, and it is change your belief and you change your life. Yes. So spiritual mind treatment are the stages that allow you to give spiritual legs to an affirmative statement of spiritual truth. So the idea that you're building like a scaffolding, well, if this is true about the infinite life, and I'm actually a part of it, right? That's like the first stage of the infinite life. I'm actually a part of it, and whatever else, whoever I'm treating for, or whatever the situation is also a part of it, stage 2. Now, when I do my affirmation, I'm abundant, I'm healthy, I'm getting my PhD and it's going wonderfully. Whatever it is, I have more peace in my life. That affirmation is embedded in this concretized spiritual truth. And now, when I say those words, they're not just floating in space. And then I speak about that. Right, and I love Mary Morrissey. She does this fabulous exercise in her prosperity teachings, and she says, pretend it's a year later, turn around and tell your friend how amazing it is that you've demonstrated whatever XYZ, right? And so essentially that's what we're doing in our third stage of the spiritual mind treatment. And if you think about if you think about quantum physics and this idea that it's the observer eye that decides, right? The double slit experiment, it's the observer eye that changes it. So in our third stage of spiritual mind treatment, we're actually observing a new reality. We're literally observing it into being. And I think of it as playing with the Play-Doh of the creative medium, or the soul stuff, as Holmes calls it. We're observing it into a new shape. And we do that I teach that we do that until the final place of resting at the end of the third stages. Well, of course that's true. Of course that's true. Because I'm a part of the one. And the one, it is always true for the one, right? So I also remind people that it's not necessarily this purely linear process. Sometimes for me, if I'm really having to work with it, I feel like it's the infinity symbol. I start with stage one. I start with what's true about the infinite nature of reality, and then I'm a part of it, and then that must be true then about the nature of my experience. And I can say that because I'm a part of the one, which reminds me, oh, this is the truth about the one. And sometimes I'm in that process because what I'm doing is I'm standing in the conviction that my spiritual truth is true, and it must manifest because I understand that I'm using the creative process. We're not just hoping that something is hearing it. We're not just thinking that we have to instruct God on what needs to be done, but I'm so working with it that I begin to believe it. And it is the belief that Ernest Holmes says subjectifies it, means it becomes something that we understand to be true. And the minute it's true for us, the law says, well, of course, that's true. And it must now do its work, right? And so at the end of stage 3, there's that moment of, well, of course this is true. Well, and if of course this is true, one cannot do anything but feel grateful. Oh my God, I'm abundant. I'm healthy. I have peace in my heart. Whatever. Like that gratitude wells up naturally. And I tell my students, if it's not welling up naturally, maybe you need to spend a little more time in that little figure 8 and that little infinity symbol until you are embodying it to the best of your ability in that moment. And then, of course, you have to let it go, right? And you have to let it go into the law and let the law do its work, because it's like managing the universe, right? Managing the universe surely can manage how to get you to your demonstration. So get out of the way, let it go. People, I have many thoughts about what we actually think, or what we let go of when we should be letting go at this part. And then, of course, right, we nail it in. And so it is. And so boom, that's my stake in the ground. And so I try to invite people to understand that it's not a formula and it's not rote. There's no magic words. The other thing I would say is that what I think is really important is that I have to make those words real for me.
Absolutely.
And so just saying, well, there's one life and that life is my life and blah, 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 it's like, yeah, do you really understand what that means? Does it really feel like something to you? So I coach people, and I do this myself. One, I have particular ways in which spiritual truths have been said that I've read or heard or that have really resonated with me that I use to help me feel the words. One. Two, like Emerson and Ernest Holmes and so many of the people in our lineage, I'm a nature girl. And if I can see it in nature, even though I know that a physical analogy is going to break down because we're talking about the infinite, right? But if I can see it in nature in some form or fashion, it becomes more real. So I ask people, what's your metaphor for abundance? What's your metaphor for activity, the divine activity? Somebody wants a job. What's your metaphor? For me, it's the bees that are humming around the azalea bush when I was a kid. And that hum of activity and those beautiful flowers and how they attract it, right? All of a sudden, I can feel that activity of the universe happening. And now I'm working that with my treatment. It's happening for this person I'm doing treatment for, that they have the activity of the universe, that they can't be, there's nothing about the universe sitting around at home. They're like those bees humming around, and their job is attracting them. And they're right. Do you see, the metaphor makes it real because I've seen it, I've experienced it. And so I'm constantly working with people. These are not just words. There's no perfect words. There's no right words. There's only the words that make it true for you, that you can hold on to. And some people are like so flowery, you get lost. But if that works for them, great. And other people are like so succinct that you're like, really? Is that enough? Can you really shift your consciousness that fast? Well, maybe they can. I also have a lot of space in my treatments because I'm like reveling in the feeling that I'm creating and the sense and the conviction. I don't want to say like feeling, like I have a little issue with that word, but the sensation of it all and the truth of it all. And then I'm like, okay, now where do I go from here? Right. So it's like each time, the whole point is embodiment. It's not just here and it's not just in your heart. The whole point is embodiment. Okay, that's enough.
That was beautiful.
That's awesome.
Rich, did I not tell you she's amazing?
She is amazing. My gosh. You know, that it's interesting how your prayers have evolved over time and how they've changed over time. I mean, you said that you felt it in nature with the bees, and then you said that you're using metaphors, but did you always have, were you born like that? Or how did you evolve that?
No, I think that, well,
I
a
was
little
hoping
bit like
somebody would say yes.
meditation. When I first sat on meditation, when I first sat on my meditation cushion, I thought, this is the stupidest thing.
Mm.
I'm sitting
Okay.
here. Okay, great. I'm sitting here. I mean, I feel like I did that for 3 years. Okay. And everybody was having visions and they were leaving their bodies and they were doing whatever. And I'm like, okay, I'm just blankety blank sitting here. And my meditations teacher, who, thank God, he came out of Paramahansa Yogananda's ashram in California. He said, Petra, as long as you sit on the cushion, just stay on the cushion. Just stay there. It's really all right. And so for me, spiritual mind treatment was a little bit the same. I don't get it. I don't get it. But I was told that you were to do it, right? Just like I was told with meditation, just do it. And so, I mean, if I'm going to be on a spiritual path and people are going to say this is something that really works, you ought to give it a try. And not just immediately say, oh, nobody can tell me how to pray and I have to just listen to it. And yes, of course, you have to find your way, but you have to find your way. You have to find your way into it. And the combination of meditation and walking in nature and then doing the treatments. And I will tell you, for me, I did not find my deepest spiritual experiences, nor do I know how the universe works because of meditation. I know it because of spiritual mind treatment. Because when you have to say those first two stages over and over and over and over again to yourself, you either have to stop saying it or you have to start entertaining the possibility that these things are true. Yeah. And when we entertain the possibility of these things being true, it completely restructures our entire paradigm about the nature of reality. And we stop living from a purely human experience, which changes everything. That's why it's called a transformative philosophy. And so, yes, it has evolved over time. And over time, different particular ideas start finding themselves into my treatments. Like I think there was a 5-year period of time where I was absolutely enamored with, in my first stage of treatment, the idea that being becomes. So partly my treatment was a contemplation. What the hell does that mean? How can you have one being and have the multiplicity? How can you have a static absolute and an emerging, evolving, as Ernest Holmes says, a relative? How does that even work? And so I worked with that in the first stage of treatment for probably 5 years. And I will tell you, my treatments got deeper and deeper and richer and richer. And and not to make it just rote, but to really work it. The steps have to be worked. They're not just said. And so in the working of it, spiritual mind treatment is my number one spiritual practice. And now it's the basis of my own personal spirituality and my experience of the nature of reality. So no, I was not born that way. Although I was born seeing the fairies and talking to the trees and all that stuff. So something was going on.
That's beautiful.
Love it. I love it.
So you're not only an iconic teacher in our movement, Petra. I'm sure that you counsel many people on how to improve their lives and teach them how to use spiritual mind treatment, either in a class or one-on-one.
Right.
So my question to you would be, have you ever had a situation where you were counseling someone and you did a treatment for them and they came back to you and said it didn't work? And if that happened, how did you handle that?
Oh, I just say, well, it hasn't worked yet. I remind people that sometimes the molecules of the universe have to be rearranged. And I think that the biggest issue in our spirituality is that we take as our primary teacher Jesus, whose every story was instantaneous demonstration. Yeah. And it pisses me off. Really. Can we not understand that somebody wrote those stories, right? Not that those things didn't happen, but oh my goodness. Plus, things have to emerge and unfold in the becomingness. So I have participated in instantaneous healings of the physical body. I have participated in the instantaneous manifestations of money. But I would say the majority of the treatments actually evolved over time. Because partly what was being treated for was something in the world, in the physical space-time continuum that operates under the law of growth. Now, in many cases, it was accelerated. In most cases, it was mind-bogglingly better than what was expected, and more effortless and coming together in ways that were miraculous. But there's still the becoming. So people become impatient and they think they're not doing it right. Now, the other side of that coin is I also coach people, pay attention to what's happening in your spiritual mind treatment. So in the process, I believe science of mind. Let me start over again. I believe science of mind teaches us you do every treatment as if it's the only treatment you'll ever do, and you treat until you demonstrate, right? So every treatment comes to completion. But I can also feel and hear, not during my treatment, the yeah, but, or after my treatment, well, I hope it works. Well, yeah, but, or I might sense that later in the day or the following week, right? And then what I say to people is, so what's happening is you're cleaning out and clearing out the veil of illusion, the false beliefs. So now you continue treating for the same thing, but your treatment is now aimed at the yeah, but, or the withhold, or the limitation, or all these things that are being revealed that you actually are using this treatment process now to clean out. And of course, if we clean it out for one demonstration, we're cleaning it out for a lot of demonstrations. Third, I also remind people it's okay to change your mind. A lot of people end up treating for things they think they should want, or they think they should need, and sometimes in the process of doing all that treatment, there's a revelation, well, this isn't really what I wanted. Or you're halfway to the demonstration and you're going, oh, I don't know. That doesn't mean anything's wrong. That means you have made a choice, you've done treatment for it, and you're revealing to yourself, well, maybe that isn't going to satisfy what I wanted. Maybe I'm doing that because somebody else thinks I should do that. Whatever it is, right? We make it so simplistic. It's not just a one-to-one relationship. There's all of these opportunities for spiritual growth and awareness all along. And so it becomes a dialogue with the universe. It becomes this amazing opportunity for us to be directing, receiving, directing, receiving, directing, getting the feedback, listening. And we become educated in the process about what we want, what we think we want, how we think it's going to happen, where all of our withholds, all of that becomes available. And of course, the hardest part is when somebody is having a physical issue, especially if they are in some form or fashion terminal or ready or feeling like, there's death is around the corner and they don't want to die. We do treatment that, I do treatment for whatever the person asks for. I don't need to have an opinion about it. It's not my business. That's what they want. That's what I'm treating for. And I have treated for somebody to stay alive up until the moment they died. And I don't have to psychoanalyze why they didn't heal. It's none of my business. My business is to know the truth and to do the absolute best of the treatment that I do for them. And that's part of the mystery of it all. I don't have to know whatever is going on. But sometimes I've also worked with people whose family wants them to heal, wants them to keep treating, and they're ready not to do it anymore. And that's okay. You get to change your mind. You can say, I'm done. Sometimes death is the only way a soul knows how to get out of this, or an illness. Of course, death is obviously the only way we get out of this, but manifesting an illness and a terminal one is sometimes the only way that we can say, no, my soul is complete and I'm ready to move on. And so, because, you still now today with our medical society, you have to die of something. You can't just say died. They have to say of something. And so we think, oh my God, it's a failure. It didn't work, blah, blah, blah. No. We just have to stop psychoanalyzing everything. And we certainly don't have to figure everything out. Oh my God, the universe is running the universe. Really? Let's release being manager of the universe and just do our work. Do our work with the wholeheartedness and the absolute most conviction that we can possibly manage, and trust the process. Those are the things I would say. And notice it's not one answer. There's never just one answer. It's always, well, what's happening? What's going on? How do we work with it? But we always work with it from a causal level, not from you're doing it wrong, not from what's in your consciousness, none of that. Just what is being revealed? Where are we going with this? And yeah, even in those times, there's enormous amount of growth available.
That's beautiful.
It was
That's
beautiful.
great. Just one other thought about that as you were speaking, Petra. I was reminded of the question that used to be, I don't know if it still is, on the practitioner exam, the final exam, that says the treatment worked, the patient died. Explain. And what you just offered was brilliant. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
It was well done. Hey, the human side of you. I mean, you talk about the daily thing where you're talking to people and doing stuff, but how does Petra go and adjust and ground for her day and prep her day? How do you do that? How do you start your day? Do you just say, "Oh yeah, it's my day and I'm here and let's go"?
Pretty much. Pretty
Moving
much.
on.
No, but so I did meditate. I had a meditation teacher and I did 3 hours of meditation every day for years.
Oh my God.
And I have had a 40-year spiritual mind treatment practice. My meditation is my life. So I ground myself when I feel ungrounded. I wake up feeling grounded. I wake up feeling centered. I wake up feeling ready for my day. I know I have all the tools in my toolkit. So the thing that I do is I sit with my wife and I have a cup of coffee. I don't pick up my phone. I don't talk about the news. I don't get on Facebook. I don't do anything to distract myself, but to be present in my own life. Period.
That's spiritual practice.
Yeah.
That is spiritual practice.
It
and
is.
and I miss it when I don't have it.
Oh, yeah.
And when Karen is traveling, I sit and I have that cup of coffee on my own. And I look out the window everywhere I live. I have trees. I look out the window. I watch the weather, and I seek only to be present.
Mm.
Because I don't believe it's about transcending this life. I don't believe we're trying to get away from anything. I don't believe we're trying to get out of anything. I believe what we are doing is bringing heaven on earth, right? And so to be present is my spiritual practice. And it is my spiritual practice every moment of every day. Even when I don't want to be present, even when I go completely unconscious and I have to drag myself back
Yep.
to being present. So, yeah, so my years of meditation and years of spiritual mind treatment, to me, every day is that, to the best of my ability.
But we're at the 5-minute mark, and we're going to shotgun the rest of the questions. John, you got the
Oh,
next
okay.
one.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh no, don't be sorry. This has been brilliant.
It is
Oh
awesome. You're
no.
fabulous.
It's not
Okay.
about the questions we ask, it's about what you say. And
Okay.
what
Yeah.
you've been saying is
Oh, yeah.
brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, shotgun the questions and I'll shotgun the answers. Go.
All right. I'll give you one real quick. Prayer specifics. Do you use 3-step, 5-step, 7-step, 9-step, or
I use the 4 and the 5-step. When I'm doing an argumentative treatment, I do a 4-step treatment, which I love and adore and think is fabulous. And when I'm doing when I feel very much into what I'm treating for, then I use the 5-step because that's the realization treatment, right? And then Ernest Holmes uses the 4-step for the mental treatment and the 5-step for the spiritual treatment.
It's funny we bring up the different steps. Agape uses 8-step, or excuse me, 6-step. They use Thanksgiving in the beginning.
Yeah, and that's why you see it's not rote. It's
Right.
not a formula,
That's right. That's why
right?
I bring
And
that up.
in my argumentative treatment, I can use affirmations and denials, which some people call the 7-step treatment. So great,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote the
So when
book
I
called
teach
Five
it, I
Steps to.
actually, I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
When I teach it, I actually teach the 4 and 5-step treatments together because I
Of
love the
course.
difference between declaration and realization. I love the
Mhm.
difference between acceptance and thanksgiving and release, right? There's something really powerful about those differences, and they're just tools in our toolkit. Do you want a screwdriver? You want a Phillips head or a slotted screwdriver, right?
Yeah. I was saying that I wrote this book called Five Steps to Freedom, but
Which I
yet
love.
today, I thank you. But today, what I'm finding is the first 2 steps, I can't separate them. And that idea of the infinity symbol fits so beautifully into what I'm experiencing because I don't know how to take those two apart and do one and then do the other. They're the same thing. And you have to come from it that way that it's all one thing, that you
Yes,
can't subdivide God.
right.
And for me, that has been a powerful growth in my spiritual life.
I love that. And I love that we can allow it to grow and evolve without losing the thread or the baseline that it has given us.
And that's exactly what Ernest told us to do, was
Hmm.
to
Mhm.
continue to evolve with it. So
Hmm.
I think we're paying attention, and I'm happy about that.
Yep.
Well, this has been a delightful conversation. I would want to ask you. My final question is,
Mhm.
um, what do you want people to step away from this conversation with? What bottom line thing would you like to see people know after hearing your sharing today?
Do spiritual mind treatment every day, whether you need it or not. Get prayer
Woo!
partners. Get prayer partners. Do spiritual mind treatment for them. I mean, you can treat for gratitude. You can treat for a hangnail. You can treat for something that's happening tomorrow. You can treat for something that's going to be 10 years from now. You can treat for the climate, or you can, treat for the new floors in your house. I mean, I've spent 25 years with these people, and there's never any shortage of things to treat for,
That's true.
right? And it
Absolutely.
doesn't mean it doesn't mean you're constantly looking for things to fix or solve, nor does it mean that you're constantly dealing with unhealed trauma. Sometimes you are absolutely setting a new cause in motion. You're making intentional and conscious decisions about your life, and you're centering yourself in your truth and you're embodying it so that you can move in the world from that place. Do treatment every day, whether you need it or
Every
not.
day. That's brilliant. That's wonderful. Thank you. Rich.
Well, I wanted to ask one last question. I mean, that was the final question, but I'm asking you. How do you
Okay.
explain this philosophy to somebody? What's your elevator speech?
Oh, I don't have one. Why would I want to do that? I think that's silly. I don't know. I've never heard a Buddhist give an elevator speech. I've never heard a Buddhist be worried about their jargon or their language or any of that nonsense. Somebody's really interested. Usually what I do is ask them, first of all, do they know, have they ever heard of the idea that there is a way in which we can engage with the universe that allows us to co-create our lives? And many people, way more people today than 40 years ago, can answer that question, yes. And so that gives a springboard of then talking about, and then I ask questions, right? Depends on who the person is, what kinds of language they use. To then I might speak about oneness because they really feel like that's that experience of being a part of something. Other people are really about manifestation, so then I'm going to talk about that, right? But to think that you can, yeah, I mean, I would be hard pressed to ask a Christian, okay, what's your elevator speech? So I just think that whole thing is nonsense. And how are you going to share it with somebody who's new? Well, you're going to share it with them. And if they're interested, they're going to ask questions. And not to be afraid of our own language. There's no religion that doesn't have its own language, and nobody else seems to apologize for it. Why should we? Which is why I will tell you, I never use the word prayer.
How about
We
that?
do
That,
we do
that
spiritual mind treatment. We don't do prayer. We do spiritual mind treatment. We are treating our consciousness. It's like, and that's what we're doing. And so it's a treatment for our consciousness, because prayer gets that high. Don't even get me started. Well, spirit will answer it. Well, spirit will know. Well, I'm waiting for spirit to guide me. Okay,
that's
really?
dualistic.
Have you forgotten what we teach? Oh my goodness. No, 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 no. So don't even get me started there. So I say we do spiritual mind treatment. It's our form of prayer, but the Buddhists don't do the same kind, don't do prayers as we know in the West either. They do chants.
Mhm.
So could we just get over having an inferiority complex? Just let's be proud of ourselves. I
Well
love
said.
spiritual mind treatment.
That's
Wonderful.
great. That's what very well said. And for those that are watching us, maybe those that watch us regularly, I'm not where I normally am. I'm normally in North Carolina. I'm normally on Miami Beach, from my home where I record this. But I'm in North Carolina this week, experiencing some wonderful things with a unity community up here.
Yeah.
And our guest, Dr. Petra, is coming from her home in New Hampshire. How exciting is
That's
that?
my cabin right there.
That's beautiful. So thank you so much for being with us today. This has been a delightful conversation. And I'll hand it back to you, Rich.
Well,
All
thank you
right.
for asking me, really, both of you. I just really appreciate it. And I just so appreciate that you're doing a podcast on spiritual mind treatment. I love it.
Yay.
Well, you can connect with both John and Petra inside of the show notes. So there's all sorts of information in there, even links to the places where you can get those books and those meditation CDs. So would you mind
John's
praying
book
us
is
out?
great too.
Oh yeah, well which one?
Well, the spiritual mind treatment book.
Yeah. So if you pray us out, if you would please.
Yes. And Rich, what about you? Where can they find you?
Oh, I do that at the end of the show.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. All right. All right, all right. All right, so let's just take a moment. Let's just let all the words go. Just let all the words go. Just allowing ourselves to drop into that deeper place. What an extraordinary thing it is to sense and feel and know that life is everywhere, infinite, from the most unknown black hole to the tiniest subatomic particle, to the hummingbirds at my bird feeder, to the leaves on the trees. Everywhere. An infinite life. Nothing left out. And that infinite life is forever pouring itself into creation. Being is forever becoming. The one absolute life seeks to express itself. The impulse to create is so that this life can express itself. We call that love. Nothing withheld. Nothing withheld. Everything that is needed for life to grow and flourish is forever being poured into creation. So that the infinite, so that consciousness can reveal itself to itself. And it does through every aspect of creation. It reveals order in the stars and flow in the rivers and abundance in the number of leaves on the trees, and all of its qualities are forever being expressed in the Sermon in the Stones. And that life is my life and the life of each and every being everywhere. And in my life and in our life as human beings, this is the place where the infinite is individuating itself, expressing itself, individualized, becoming conscious that it is consciousness, becoming conscious of itself, to be able to see and know that it can create, that it can choose, that it can decide, and that it can further the evolution of consciousness by choosing to create. Every creation, every decision, every choice is an opportunity for these choices to be educated. Is it in alignment with this trajectory, this impulse of life to give to life, or not? And today I affirm and declare that as humanity is awakening to its spiritual magnificence, there is a greater, deeper realization of life moving in, through, and all around all of creation. That we are inextricably linked with this one infinite life and all of creation. And that right where humanity is, each and every one of us, our choices are being educated. Is it in alignment with life, for the evolution of life, for the good of life, or not? So I release any false beliefs about anything that stands in the way. I release any false beliefs about unmet needs or unmet realizations. I release any false belief about ownership or dominion. I release any false beliefs that there isn't enough for everyone. I release any false belief that stands in the way of the revelation of wholeness revealing itself on our planet. A healthy atmosphere, a healthy environment, healthy for all beings, all people, all beings everywhere, in harmony and balance. I stand witness to this revelation moment by moment in every place where it is already being revealed. I celebrate every place and every person that is participating in this revelation, is making choices to bring it about, knowing that the infinite wisdom and intelligence of the universe is guiding, guarding, and directing all of this, that it must be so as this awareness grows. So I can relax into it with perfect faith and trust. I release my own fear and doubt and worry.
So we do.
So I let it be, I let it go, and so it is.
So it is. That was wonderful.
Very nice.
Well, visit us on Prayers Radio, like, subscribe, and if you like this, go ahead and subscribe to us on one of the 21 platforms that we're currently on. Again, if you don't say a prayer, you ain't got a prayer. So everybody say bye.
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 Your